Well, look, Gavin, we had at the same time that EU announcement of a maritime aid corridor and the US plan to build a temporary pier off the coast of Gaza. Israel officially welcoming both initiatives, saying it will coordinate with the US and its allies to ensure aid gets to the people of Gaza. Of course, the ships will set sail from Cyprus. And just a short while ago, a spokesperson for the Cypriot Ministry of Foreign Affairs explained to me that the security checks that will be carried out on the cargo being loaded onto those ships will be carried out by Cypriot customs officials in the presence of Israeli officials who will be playing, I'm told, a quote, observer role. But serious questions still remain about this. You know, the US, with regards to that pier, says that Israel will secure it. Israel has not confirmed that. The pier itself could take up to 2 months to build. The waters off the coast of Gaza are very shallow. That means that ships can't get too close to the shore. And in the meantime, of course, we're told that a ship is setting sail this weekend from Cyprus, heading to Gaza with humanitarian aid on board. But at this stage, it still isn't clear how and where that ship will unload that aid to ensure that it gets to the people of Gaza who need it most.
That's really interesting, especially the point about the Israelis monitoring the Cypriots there. Oscar Camps is the head of the Open Arms, the group that I've been on this boat before, actually. It's a migrant rescue vessel. Some of their ships were in the past. Now, he's said that they will feel safe, whatever happens, but we're still waiting for more details, as you say. Let me also ask you about Israel in this. We talked about the pressure on them, the strategic partner of Washington that really many say have ignored a lot of the persuasion efforts from President Biden. What criticism, if any, is there in Israel of how the government's operating in Gaza?
Well, look, for a start, in Israel, there is, still a lot of support for this war, but there is definitely a growing mistrust of the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, particularly over the government failure to prevent the October 7th attacks. Just yesterday, the Israeli newspaper Haaretz, which is normally a newspaper that is quite critical of Netanyahu, went a step further and published an editorial urging Israelis to take to the streets to call for early elections and to oust Netanyahu from power. To give you another example of growing mistrust here in Israel of Netanyahu, I actually asked someone for their reaction to US President Joe Biden's State of the Union speech in which he partly addressed the plight of Israeli hostages still being held in Gaza. And she told me that it gave her hope because, she said, it's only with outside pressure that it may be possible to secure the release of those remaining Israeli hostages, because she says she's lost confidence in the Israeli government to actually get anything done. And you hear that sentiment, I think, more and more here in Israel, not just here in Israel, but also amongst Israel's traditional partners and allies, whether they're in Europe or even in the US. US officials in press briefings regarding the construction of that temporary pier were saying that they're no longer waiting for Israel to take the lead, that now's the time for the US to show leadership, a sure sign of growing frustration with Benjamin Netanyahu and the way he's handled both the war in Gaza and the growing humanitarian crisis.